Hey, church family, this is Pastor David, and I just wanted to take a few moments to remind you about what is happening here at Fishhawk Fellowship Easter weekend. First of all, due to the Easter crowds, we are adding an additional weekend service on Saturday at 3 p.m. With this new service, we will have 5 weekend services, Saturday at 3 and 5, and then Sunday morning at 8, 9:30, and 11:15. And I'm asking you now, as a member or regular attendee of Fishhawk Fellowship, to come Saturday at 3 or Sunday morning at 8 so that we can make room for all of our Easter guests. Now, speaking of guests, our guest speaker on Easter weekend will be Mark Gregston of Heartlight Ministries in Hallsville, Texas. For over 40 years, Mark has worked with troubled teens and their families in times of crisis. Not only is Mark affectionately known as the Teen Whisperer, but Mark's podcast, Parenting Today's Teens, and his weekly program of the same name can be heard on radio stations all across America, where Mark literally speaks to millions and millions of parents on a weekly basis. In a day and age of school shootings, anxiety, depression, isolation, sexting, pornography, the intense pressure that comes with being on social media, and the general unhappiness that more and more young people are feeling on a daily basis, not only is being a teenager or a preteen hard, but listen, so is being their parent, their grandparent, or even just their friend. And so this coming Easter weekend, Mark is going to be here to give us some help. In addition, Mark will also be back with us on Sunday night from 5 to 6:30 for a no-holds-barred Q&A session where any and all topics will be on the table for discussion. But Pastor David, why do we do something like this on Easter weekend? Why do we bring Mark in on that day? Why not some other time? You know what? That's a great question. And the answer to that question is because outside of Christmas, Easter weekend is when so many unchurched families are open to attending church. And so every other year, we try to do something unique in hopes of practically impacting the community in which we live. Yes, we live in a great community. And yes, we have great schools and administrations. But pain and suffering and alcohol and drugs, those things do not stop at the gates of the communities in which we live. Instead, those things have a tendency to slip right on through those gates, which is why Newsom High School, as great as it is, has one of the highest rates of teenage drug use of any school in Hillsborough County. And it's also why the greater Fishhawk community, as great as it is full of so many families who are struggling and who are in crisis. I know it's true, and you know it's true. So let's invite all the parents and families that we know to come and join us on Easter weekend. And let's start praying now for God to use those services to bring hope and encouragement to a community that so desperately needs it. Hey, on Easter weekend, yes, we're going to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. And yes, we're going to sing and worship and remember the fact that Jesus did, in fact, rise from the grave. This Easter, however, we're also going to talk about how more than just rising from the grave to give us victory over sin and death, Jesus also rose again to give us life and to give us life more abundant in and through a relationship with Him. Church, the resurrection matters not just one day a year, but every single day of the year, which is why Paul prayed this for us in Ephesians 1, 19 and 20. He said, I also pray that you will understand the incredible greatness of God's power for us who believe in Him. This is the same mighty power that raised Christ from the dead and seated Him in the place of honor at God's right hand in the heavenly realms. Now, what does that mean? Well, very simply, what that means is that Jesus rose again to give us hope and the power needed to overcome any and all of struggles that we experience in life. So this Easter weekend, let's pray and invite, and let's be present ourselves as one of our nation's leading experts on navigating the preteen and the teenage years, speaks truth and wisdom and hope into our lives. See you this weekend at Fishhawk Fellowship as we celebrate Easter with our church family and hundreds of guests from our community. Love you guys, and we'll see you soon.